Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my fiancé? Last night my 35 male fiancé, 38 female, left in the evening to give a friend's son a ride back to his home. She implied she'd be home before 9. She left at around 7:45. 10:15 rolled around and she still wasn't home. I texted and she apologized to me, saying that her friend's son was actually in the next town over, maybe 30 minutes away, and she was coming home now. 11:45 rolled around and she still hadn't come home, so I called her to no answer. Texted her to no response. I was getting very upset. 12:30 rolled around and still no response and no answer to my phone calls. I was extremely angry. 1:30 rolled around and my anger had completely transformed into worry. Not answering my calls and texts not read. Around 1:45 I called the police. I have always heard that the first 24 hours of someone being missing is the most important, so I didn't want to delay. I asked them to let me know if there had been any traffic accidents involving her car, and the operator told me that they would put out the word and send some cops to check along the route she would travel. I called all the hospitals in the area to check if she has been checked in, and I waited outside watching the road for her car for 3 hours, partially because I didn't want the kids to hear me on the phone with hospitals, and secondly because I was sick with worry. At 7 a.m. she came home. She apologized for being out and said she had no excuse. She was driving home and felt tired, like she was falling asleep at the wheel, so she pulled over to the side of the road to sleep. When she did that, she found that her brand new phone had stopped working. She says she napped anyway because it was the responsible thing to do, and then came home at 7 a.m. to bring the kids to school and get to work on time. I immediately called the police and told them that she had come home safely and gave them the case number and told them to stop searching, which they did. My fiancé brought the kids to school and left for work. I set out to start cleaning. Cleaning de-stresses me sometimes, and I got a call from a policeman asking where she worked. I told him and asked why, and I was informed that it was their policy to check on the person's wellness after a missing person is found. I asked them to not go by her work but to give her a call instead. He said he couldn't promise. My fiancé is relatively new to her job. A police officer showed up and asked to speak with her. She is now enraged at me for calling the police and sending a cop to her work and making her look bad. She is saying I overreacted and that she wasn't missing and that I was punishing her for doing the responsible thing and not driving while drowsy. She is saying that she is never going to leave the house again except for work, because she is afraid I'm going to call the cops on her again. So did I overreact? Should I have waited 2 days like she suggests? Not the a-hole, but you know she's lying, right? I do suspect that the story isn't truthful, but she doesn't really have a history of lying to me, so I've been trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. No, her whole story is a big fat lie. She told you she would be home by 9, but somehow was wrong about where the kid lived. Did she not know the town beforehand? Did she just start driving 30 minutes and then the kid goes, "Oh no wait, I actually live in XYZ, not XXX." That part of the story doesn't even make any sense. So she ended up changing the time. Then she got tired and pulled over and napped on the side of the road? You do realize that if police were looking for her on roads where she claimed she would be, and she was napping in her car on said road, they would have found her, right? And then her new phone just happened to not be working? Despite the fact that that simply does not happen, and even if it wasn't working properly, she still could have called 911. That's not even mentioning the fact that I don't know a single woman, myself included, who would pull over on the side of the road and sleep in her car with no phone. Edit, please stop telling me that you are a woman and that you've slept on the side of the road in the middle of the night. That's like bragging about keeping your front door unlocked and then saying, well, nobody has ever broken into my home, so it's obviously fine. They say ignorance is bliss, but ignorance in the case of refusing to acknowledge how frequently women are assaulted/kidnapped/ etc. is disgusting. From a fellow woman, it's not something to be proud of. I read the news constantly. It's insane how often terrible things happen to women. You should not advocate for women further putting themselves in danger or act offended that other women are so cautious. Especially the timing, who sleeps from midnight to 7 a.m. in the car on the side of the road? A woman too? Not a 2-hour power nap, but all night? And she came back conveniently in time to pick up kids and go to work. It keeps bouncing in my head that this is literally a woman we are talking about. As a woman myself, I don't even feel safe walking to my car at night, even outside my own house. And you're telling me this woman pulled off on the side of the road and slept for 7 hours with a broken phone? Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Not the a-hole. I don't believe her story one bit. Driving a kid home and disappearing for the entire night is a massive red flag. How does she not even know where he lives when she started the drive? How old is this kid? Pulling over and sleeping on the side of a road for a 30-minute drive is nuts. She is now turning this around to say she is the victim of her actions. The kid is 17, I believe. She was picking him up from somewhere he was at, I don't remember where, and bringing him home to her friend. Dude. Her story is full of holes. You believe her? Did she maybe hook up with the friend's son or the son's dad? You're not the a-hole, by the way. You were concerned. Maybe she should be more responsible next time. I think your fiancé is getting railed 2 towns over my guy. If not getting railed, definitely doing serious drugs. Not the a-hole. But you know that isn't the truth, right? I did ask her about why her brand new phone stopped working, and she eventually confessed she dropped it in a puddle. But when she got home it seemed to be working. Edit, I think this would be more believable if it had rained in the last few weeks. Edit 2, my fiancé has informed me that she was embarrassed, but the truth is that she dropped it in the toilet, not a puddle. Not the a-hole. She said she was on her way home at 10:15 p.m. and then disappeared until 7 a.m. Of course you were going to call the police and have them go looking for her. If she'd been in an accident or worse, she would have been dead if you'd waited 2 days to call. That being said, she's definitely lying about what happened. It honestly sounds more like she fell asleep at her affair partner's place and concocted that bogus excuse to cover her ass. I know everyone is saying affair. But this really reminds me of my stepmom at the height of her pill addiction. She actually would pull over on the side of the road and sleep it off. Often. She did it even with my underage siblings in the car on the way to my house once, a full hour spent on the side of a 2-lane highway. She had cops wake her up and they laughed about her being a tired mom. OP is definitely not the a-hole, but I just want to throw out another perspective. So what are your thoughts? Leave a comment below.